may use the word brother, I may not be wrong, because they are the one who bring the fresh food. They bring you, in terms of hospitality, in terms of tourism, the suppliers are one. They give you different amenities. They give you, let's say, if you have a person who's supplying you a tour company is there. For the tour company, the car company, it's another supplier. Maybe the, the, what's it called, the tour guide company is another company. you know these are supplier who give you information, who give you support services, so that your tour package is complete. Because you as in yourself, you will not have everything within you. You will not have airlines, you do not have uh, road transport, you do not have hotels on your name, you do not have all tour guides. So you may have, you're just a person sitting together as a tour company, organizing and liaising with all those people. And these suppliers will actually support you all the way along to run your show, isn't it? So it's very important for you to make sure that if you have taken the services of any bus company or a car company for for your tourist, for the package, you must pay them on time, right? And if there's any perks, anything agreed, whatever terms and conditions, you must fulfill that, right? So to make sure that you make payments timely and you maintain the relationship. So that is very, very important for a manager, to make sure that you make the payments on time. And also, importantly, because you are running a business, you are bound by law. So you have legally a responsibility to follow all the instructions and compliance of the government. Because obviously, if we are running under the as a business, and which is registered business, so obviously we come under law, and we have to fulfill those, by paying taxes, by paying duties and whatnot, toll plazas, whatever it is. We need to fulfill those requirements. As a manager, we make sure that we are compliant. Also, if there's any audit, we are ready for the audit, and we are doing the right thing. Now, we have talked about business, we have talked about suppliers, we talked about employees, we talked about organization, but we have not talked about a very important thing. You know what? Our society, isn't it? Because we also do business, we do everything. But if our business is not really good for our society, if we are making more of carbon imprint, so that's something which I really want to focus on, because that's something which I'm more interested also. So what happens is that anything that we do is related to carbon footprint. What I'm trying to say is that how much damage are we doing to the society, to the environment. So let's take environment first. So in the environment, so whenever you do something, even this pen has a carbon footprint, because to make this pen, how much chemicals was used, how much carbon was used, how much CO2 was used. So that's called, I will not go in detail, but then yes. Similarly, when you send your tour package to a particular destination, so you are sending people over there to someone's house, someone's area, right? So they might be locals who might be living there. So if you send too many people at one place at one point of time, so what will happen to the locals, right? So tourists going over, they paid, you have taken money, they paid money, they will go and enjoy. But if there's too many at one point of time, what's going to happen? Overcrowding. Neither will your tourists enjoy, and nor will the locals. And what if there's issues, right? So we have to have be responsible in terms of what do we do, our actions, and how do we help our society, how do we make sure that we work with the locals to help and increase their profit, but at the same time making sure that their culture, their values, the local flora and fauna, are safeguarding, and we're not hurting them, or we're not spoiling them or exploiting them. Okay. Now, we also have to be very careful about religious and local culture and values. Like, that's another aspect that as a manager we must be looking at, all this. Now, we understood that various managers do a lot of activities, and they perform a lot of different tasks in the job roles, right? Now it is for us to understand that the job role that you are doing, you must be actually 100% versed in the role, that you should know your role, that what you, and you should know your duties and responsibilities, so that you can fulfill them properly, isn't it? Also, you must understand, what are the different patterns, that manager work with. Every person is a different one, right? And what exactly is going on, because as a manager, you have a team to take care of, right? It could be as small as team of 3 people, or it could be a 300 or 3,000 people for that matter. So you have to have make sure what is at the moment trend in the market which is working, and how does it work in my organization, right? So that's the organization trends and organization management style and activities. So that should be aware of those things. Okay. Now, at day-to-day basis, you will see there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of uh, systematic timings or schedules that you may have, and you have to make sure you are fulfilling those requirements of the schedule. So what happens is, at some point of time, let's say you have a booking at 8 a.m. with one client, and you have booking another client with 10 a.m. There's booking at another client with 12 p.m. and then booking at the 2 p.m. So you have to make sure that the 8 a.m. booking is finished and done and dusted and done, and you're ready for, you finish what you do paperwork and you're ready for. So you're busy for the whole day, right? Now you make sure that when you're busy in the timeline, you do not give them extra timings or slots to someone else when you cannot fulfill it properly, because that will go a bad name to you and your organization. So obviously there are sometimes unexpected things happen, so you need to keep those things back of mind, just in case anything happens in emergency or contingency. What do I do? How do I do that? So nowadays with the COVID-19, obviously you have a Zoom facility where even if you can't reach, you can do it on online with different what was it called, online media platforms that you can do that. So you should be ready with your contingencies. But obviously, if there are actions that require immediate attention, as a manager, please do not put it for later, because anything you put it for later obviously will actually get back to you in a big way, and may not be able to complete that function properly, or fulfill or justify your response to that particular. Now, what comes next comes is management functions in terms of 4 basic functions. Come on, again, think about it. 4 basic: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So yeah, so well, we had coordinator, I'm saying leading over here. So obviously manager must be responsible, a manager must see all those things. So now you look at it, what all is there on the head of a manager, isn't it? A lot of stuff, isn't it? Oh wow, yes, that's right. But having said that, these are skills you can achieve, isn't it? You can achieve those skills. Now, depending on the nature of job and the level of the manager, so there are many managers are actually, there are very functions that they do and they perform. So let's look at different functions in terms of management, which are what was it called, I would say, which are done or undertaken by manager. So few important aspects of that are: number one, planning. Yes. So the planning part is here. It's obviously, you can't just say that I'll plan tonight and I'll do it tomorrow morning. No. Sometimes your planning could be as big as 3 years. Your mission, vision, and values. Your mission could be from between 1 to 3 years, and your vision could be 3 years and beyond 5 years. Yeah. It could be as small as 3 years, or it could be beyond 5 years. So you have to have very much thorough that when you're going to do something and how you're going to do something. It's very, very important. And obviously you actually must have a planning for every future activity, because obviously if you do not plan on time, obviously how will you execute? So when it comes to organizing, that means bringing people together and getting activities or work done. So that's called organizing, which is obviously a very important aspect of a manager, because when you organize things together, get people to work together in the teams to, bring the results, obviously then comes delegating of tasks and jobs. And there must be a relationship within the employees and with you, because obviously how you put your employees where, who can have what authority and can say and cannot say what, because that's very important as a manager. Because if you do not put people in the right place or the spots in the hierarchy, so they may have clashes, and which will bring down the productivity. Now, the third comes is the leading. Well, I actually had a very good discussion with you earlier on leading, that how can you lead a team, and I given you example of leading. So when you lead, it does not just mean you give them orders, right? So we actually work in the team and we make sure that we achieve the defined goal of the organization. There's the right planning, there's the right process in place, and if there's any issue, there's a way to resolve the issue so that your team members, they achieve the desired goals. Okay, so that's a leading one. Now, at times it could be directing. Yes, it could be directing at times, because sometimes you have to have a different hat, right? Now, sometimes people may not know what to do. They may need your direction, right? So you have to give them direction so that they can achieve their desired goals or objectives which are set by the organization. Okay, now obviously, as a leader, or the leading role, it is very, very crucial that you motivate your team members, right? You actually are decision maker. You are actually leading by example. Sometimes you lead by example, you're a trendsetter. So it is important. But the last and the most important thing is making sure you check and you analyze and you control. Yes, you control and correct what is not right. So whenever you see, it's again, it's actually a cyclic ones. Okay, so when you've done everything, planning is done, leading is done, direction is done, everything is done, execution is done. Now you look at the control. What did we not do right? Okay, so we need to see, okay, this is what is not right. How can we make sure we find out if this is right or not? So you put checks in place. So they have to go through the process of checking. It could be that you're taking a feedback from your team members, taking a feedback from your customers, and the customers say, no, the package was not good, or the tour operator did not speak to us properly, or the guide was not doing. So that's something, a control measure you put in place, so that you get a feedback, and based on feedback you look at your performance, you measure your performance, and then you work on it again. So in today's session, I'm very excited that we have really covered a lot of things. So let's sum up everything that we have covered, right? The first thing we covered was that management is a distinctive process of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling to achieve the goals of an organization. So, goals and achieving goals of an organization. Okay. Now, we saw the different levels of manager which fit with the various activities, right, at various levels, and they have different hats that they need to really put on. We looked at a various skills in terms of technical, human, and conceptual skills, ranging from supervisor to top level management, how the conceptual skills are highest at the top level and the lowest in terms of the frontline manager. Okay, now we discussed about very has to be, or various roles that a manager needs to change in an organization, and various tasks and responsibilities that a manager has. Now, we also discussed about various patterns in terms of job requirements, and also we understood that how a manager is also a leader, and how they're also a decision maker, and how it's also a motivator, and obviously a manager must consider the functions, the roles, the tasks in order to achieve the goals of the organization. So, do you not see I'm repeating the word achieving the goals of organization? So that is actually the main focus comes from there. That as a manager, it is very, very imperative for you to understand that we need to achieve the goals of organization, and this is where our role comes as a manager, so that we bring those coordinated activities of the whole team to focus and bring them together to fulfill the organization goals. I hope this session, you enjoyed this session. I hope you take a lot out of this session, and you learn in terms of management concepts and functions. Thank you so much for today, and maybe I'll see you in some sessions next time, and hopefully you learn a lot from this session, and if hopefully I'll see you soon next time. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Take care.